Hi everyone, my name is Francia. Today's class is our Vinyasa for all levels. And today we're going to be working with an imaginary wall. But if you do have a regular wall, you're welcome to come near it. We're just going to be working a little bit on alignment for certain postures. So let's take a moment to come to a comfortable seated posture. Soften the shoulders, maybe gently close the eyes or take your gaze downward. Let your hands rest wherever they feel they need to be. And start to focus on the breathing. You can use your ujjayi breath, your breath with sound, or you're just in a regular natural breath. Either one is fine. See if you can bring awareness to that space or that gap or that pause that happens at the end of the inhale, before the exhale, and at the end of the exhale, before the inhale. So let the breath come in. Notice the pause. And let the breath release. Again, noticing the pause. Continue like this for a few more rounds. Observing that pause between the breath. One more round. Slowly at the end of the next exhale, when you're taking that pause, blink the eyes open, awareness back into our space. And let's go ahead and let's release the arms down to the sides, press the fingertips into the floor. So let's just start to move a little bit into the center of the body. So we've sometimes talked, hi Lori, welcome. We've sometimes talked about keeping the spine nice and tall. In our yogic, there's a yogic principle of the center channel. We talk about the Sushumna channel for those of you that have taken any of my Tibetan heart yoga classes. So you want to feel the pelvic floor, the two sits bones pressing down into the earth, and then feel a gentle rise through the pelvic area, the pelvic floor. And then that rise continues on through the center line of the body, kind of parallel to your spine. And for our purposes today, we will continue that line all the way through the top of the head. So if you can imagine, there's like a string attached, you would be perfectly plumb, right? Extending from that point. So with the fingertips on the floor, it just gives us a little bit of leverage so that we're not using only the muscles of the core and the back, but also just using the fingertips to kind of give ourselves a sense of groundedness and a sense of lift as we press the fingertips into the mat. So again, the shoulders soften. And you want to feel a little bit of a contraction through the spine, almost like you're kind of corseting yourself here, drawing in through the belly. And then again, taking a couple more of those breaths, those resonating breaths, observing that pause in between. There's a sense of work, but there's a sense of ease that happens automatically. So now as the breath comes in, you might visualize it going up that center channel to the top of the head, pausing, kind of just hovering that pause at the top of the inhale. And then as the exhale releases, bringing that energy back down towards the earth, and then pausing and letting that energy sit down by the pelvic floor. One more time. Inhale. Feel that center line of your body. Feel that nice upright position. Exhale. Good. And then release the elbows, bring them in towards the back or towards your hips or waist. Maybe plant your hands on the floor and lift your chest slightly. So now we're going to start to feel a little bit of openness through the front body. This is a very, very small back bend. As you press into your hands, so if this was plumb line, everything nice and straight, what we're doing now is pressing the hands in and gently lifting the rib cage forward. So don't think about chest up, think rib cage forward. You want to keep your butt down on the floor, soften the shoulders back towards each other, create a little bit of a back bend, and just tilt the chin up ever so slightly. So you're just lifting the chin to kind of continue that same line of openness to the front body. Keep hollowing out through the lower belly. Maybe you can incorporate a little Uddiyana Bandha here, hollowing out through the underneath the rib cage. Continue the breath, pausing at the bottom and pausing at the top. One more. So connect here with a sensation of openness. And then slowly, with the next exhale, at that pause, release the hands, bring the hands to the knees. We're going to go the other way. So back to that same plumb line. Now we're going to roll the shoulders back, tuck under through the tailbone, hold on to your knee so that you have something to kind of counterbalance you, and then tuck the chin down. Now the shoulder blades separate, and we're creating roundness in the back and a hollowness to the front body. And just kind of continue that same breath, pausing at the top of the inhale, pausing at the bottom of the exhale. Observing how the breath changes as the body changes the position. One more. Good. And then inhale, slowly coming through to center, finding that same flat line as before. Maybe you don't need the hands, maybe bringing the hands in front, keeping the spine as tall as you can make it. Now, this is going to depend on the flexibility of your hips. You might want to start to lean forward. And again, we're not terribly warm yet. We're just moving into the directional space of the spine. So as you move forward, be mindful to not round your back and hollow out your belly. You want to keep that sense of lift, rib cage reaching down. And we're not going to go very deep. Even if you can go all the way to the floor, I would recommend just stay lifted. Stay on your fingertips. Keep the shoulders back. Keep the top of the head, that same line that's now pulling you at a diagonal. One more breath. Pausing at the top of the inhale. Exhale. Pausing at the bottom of the exhale. And then with that pause, slowly walk the fingertips back in. And now we're going to move into a twist. So let's take right hand over left knee, left hand behind. Now this may be enough for you this morning. Before we continue the warm up, you might want to just stay here. This feels okay. Maybe take your gaze over left shoulder. So don't go any deeper than this. Even if you can take that hand around, even if you can bring that right hand to the left hip, just stay here. See how that feels. So we're trying to connect deeply through the spine so that when we do our standing kind of movements, we kind of know where these muscles are coming from, how to move them, and how to feel through them. And then exhale, coming back to center, and then we'll twist the other direction. So left hand to the right knee, right hand comes behind you. Find your lift, find your rotation. I like to kind of keep the gaze to the side at first, and only when I feel myself moving more comfortably into the twist, then I can gaze back over that right shoulder. And then use your fingers to stay upright. So try not to lean back. Keep everything nice and tall. Remember that plumb line, it's the same. We're just twisting a little bit over. Let the breath move effortlessly here. Again, connecting to that pause at the top of the inhale. And that same pause at the bottom of the exhale. And slowly with at the next exhale pause, we're going to come back to center and shake out the shoulders. Okay, very nice. Now let's go ahead and straighten out one leg. Let's do the right leg and keep the left foot in. And let's just take a moment to, again, find that plumb line. So you start to notice that maybe this is easier for you. If there's tightness in your hips, this might be an easier way to find that straight line. Find that straight line. Maybe put the fingertips on the floor like we did in the beginning, or you can let your hands rest on your legs or even in front, but keep connecting to that straight line. Using that straight line, we're gonna slide the right hand down towards the ankle. So maybe you just reach the ankle or the shin, and that's enough. If you start to feel yourself rotating forward, come back up until you don't feel that rotation anymore. Your shoulders stay square. So this is where that imaginary wall behind us is going to come into play. If there was a wall behind you, your two shoulders would be touching the wall. And see how far your body will allow you to go. Maybe you can reach your foot, maybe only your ankle. Doesn't matter, because again, we're not warmed up. We're just trying to figure out where the body lives today, where that spine lives today. And then you can use your left hand to put gentle pressure on that left knee, and let's go a little bit past. So now we're going to bring that left shoulder to the wall and the right shoulder slightly forward. So maybe the left ear touches the wall behind you. So your left shoulder and your left ear are touching that wall behind you, that imaginary wall. One breath. Pausing at the top of the inhale. Pausing at the bottom of the exhale. Slowly gaze back to center and gently come all the way back up. So notice how that felt in your body. Allow movement here if you need to. We're going to take both hands over the left knee, maybe taking both hands to the floor, lift the chest and try to bring that right hip gently forward as you square off the shoulders. We're going to just stay here. We're going to repeat all of these movements after we are a little bit more warm so you can see how big of a difference it makes on your body. So that left elbow, your back elbow might be a little bit soft to create a little bit of movement. And just gaze down the bridge of your nose, connect with your breath and keep your right leg contracted and grounded towards the earth. Bottom of the next exhale. Pause and slowly making our way back to center. Good. Switching legs, right leg in, left leg out, finding that plumb line, that tall spine, that engagement in the core, engagement in all the back muscles, feeling yourself long and tall. That left leg is grounded and rooted. Take a couple of breaths here. Really important to connect to that center, because as we move, we want to move from this position. And then we're going to take the left hand onto the left leg and start to slide. Remember, keeping both shoulders on that back imaginary wall, and maybe just coming down to the ankle or even the shin or even the knee. It could be a tiny movement. It could be a long movement. I don't recommend going for the foot. Even if you can, just stay at the ankle. And then from here, placing that right hand gently into the thigh to add a little bit more lift. So you want to feel like you're extending up and away from your hips. Moving that left shoulder back, right shoulder back. And just notice here as you continue to breathe, what that sensation feels like. This is a similar sensation you will feel in Trikonasana, in our triangle pose, when you fold sideways. And then now we're going to add that right shoulder is going to move back, that left shoulder is going to move forward slightly. So there's a little bit of a rotation, and that left hip starts to kind of bring its way down to the center. And then we're going to take the gaze to the side. So the right ear and right shoulder would be touching that imaginary wall behind us. Steady breath, gentle grip on the left hand. You're not trying to hold on tight to that foot. Gentle pressure into the right hand. Easy, steady breathing. And slowly at the bottom of the next exhale, pause and come back to center. Gently straighten up, and then we'll go ahead and pivot to the side. So again, maybe just taking a moment to move into moving that hip gently forward, taking both fingertips on either side of that right leg. The right elbow is bent. You can be flat on your hands too, but I think the fingertips just give me a little bit more grip for some reason, so I'm going to stay here. And then you want to move the right shoulder back, left shoulder forward, like you're trying to square off your shoulders. You may or may not square them off. I feel like today my body does not want to square off. So I'm just working on bringing right shoulder back, left shoulder forward, keeping the left leg rooted and grounded, left foot flexed. And you're just going to gaze down to the space in between your two hands. slightly forward of the hands. Keeping your left hip grounded, don't let it pop up. Opening the heart and rib cage. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. And pause. Good. Inhaling, slowly coming back through to center, bringing that left knee in. Let's give ourselves a nice hug. Say thank you, body, for giving me the original kind of baseline of where my spine is today. And then slowly we're going to make our way onto our tabletop position. So making our way to tabletop. Hands, fingers are wide and open. You know how to stack those knees below the hips, wrists below the shoulders. So you feel yourself nice and supported here in this tabletop position. And then let's start to move the weight forward and back. Gonna add some more movement here. Gonna go through our first vinyasa. Now again, continuing that same pattern of breathing if you can, noticing that pause at the end of the exhale and at the top of the inhale. You don't have to elongate the pause or hold and the breath there. You just have to observe it. And then coming to center, moving the rib cage side to side. Deepening your breath here if you wish. Elongating the inhale, elongating the exhale. Coming back to center, some cat and cows. Inhale, lift. Exhale, curl. Inhale, lift. A little pause. Exhale, curl. A little pause. Last one, inhale. Exhale. And back to center. Gently tuck the toes under, lift the knees, keep the knees bent, lengthen your spine. So we're starting with this half downward facing dog. You can also do this with your knees down if you walk your arms forward. This is also an option. It's similar to puppy dog or puppy pose. So if you're feeling like your legs are tired today from all that work we did yesterday, you're welcome to keep your knees down. Let's hollow out the belly in whatever position you are in. And if you're on your toes, try to bring more weight towards your heels. That doesn't mean straighten your legs. It just means bring more weight in that direction. You're gently moving the heels towards the earth, but keeping the knees soft allows you to keep the spine long. So again, we're finding that plumb line, that length here. We don't want to sink and we don't want to round. We want to find length. So hollow out the belly, separate the shoulder blades. One more breath. Inhale, look forward and walk your feet about halfway up your mat. Once your feet are there, bend your knees, hold on to opposite elbows. Exhale, softly fold. Inhale, try to lift the tailbone up as you reach the arms down, the forearms down. Exhale, softly fold, bending through the knees. So you want to keep contact of your rib cage and chest against your thighs. Inhale, hips up again. Reach the forearms down, roll the weight forward, eyes open. Exhale, softly bend the knees, fold. You're just folding yourself onto your thighs. Last one, inhale up. Lengthen the arms, roll the weight forward, lengthen the abdomen. Exhale, softly fold. Release the hands back to the floor. Walk the feet back to your downward facing dog, keeping those knees bent, lengthening through the spine. And then now let's walk out the dog. Bend one knee, straighten one knee. Maybe a little bit more accessible for you after the forward folding. Keep drawing in through the lower belly. Keep swaying through the hips, strong knuckles and fingers gripping your mat. Moving the chest through the space between the shoulders, chin up a little bit so that you're not
tucking the chin to the chest, but there's a little bit of a length in the neck. And then slowly pressing both heels down, finding your downward facing dog here. Connect with the soles of your feet, connect with the palms of your hands. Find the strength in your body, steady breathing. Finding the pause in between the breathing. And at the end of the exhale, looking forward, again, walking the feet in halfway up your mat. Keep your feet hip width apart, knees soft, fold your body, let your hands come to your elbows one more time, trying to release down. Imagine that there's magnets at the ends of your elbows that are being pulled down towards the tops of your feet. And then inhale, try to lift the hips, even if you don't straighten the legs fully, just lift the hips and roll the weight forward to the balls of your feet. Don't worry about contracting through your quads here. Think more of hips up, whatever that means for you. And then exhale, softly fold once more. 2 more times. Inhale, hips up, elbows down, roll the weight forward, eyes open, gazing between the shins. Exhale, softly fold. So we're really teaching our bodies, it's okay here to push your limits if you feel comfortable. So don't go too far, just push your limits, find where that is for you. Last time, inhale, hips up, elbows reach down, top of the head down, roll the weight forward. And exhale, release. The hands to the floor. Walk the fingertips forward, walk the feet forward, coming to the top of your mat, bend through your knees and slowly roll yourself up. Let your arms hang. Start to stack your weight. Feel it stacking on top of your feet as the knees and hips come into alignment. The shoulders come into alignment. And finally, the head. Good. Let's do a quick vinyasa here. We'll do Surya Namaskara A. Inhale, raise the arms. Palms together, look at thumbs. Exhale, gently fold, hinging from hips. Knees are soft. Head relaxes. Inhale, extend the spine, creating space. Let's move here with the flow of ease. Exhale, step one foot, then the other. Come to a high plank. Lengthen up, press through the shoulders. Exhale, knees down, hug the elbows to the rib cage, lower the chest and chin. Inhale, slide forward to cobra, or you can press up to your upward facing if your body calls for it. Chin up, shoulders back. Exhale, curl over the toes as you lift the hips. Find your downward facing dog. Adjust your footing. Take 4 breaths here. Pausing at the top of the inhale and pausing at the bottom of the exhale, just like we've been doing all along. One more. At that pause of the last exhale, looking forward between the hands. Inhale, walking or stepping or tiptoeing your feet forward. Now press into your hands like you're going into a handstand. Walk one foot in, keep reaching the hips up. Press firmly through the hands. This takes a lot of strength and a lot of core work. You can try it. Try not to bend through your knees unless you absolutely have to. Keep pressing up. Keep walking. Engage into your core. Once the toes come together, inhale, lengthen spine. This feels like sweet release after that. Exhale, fold deeply. Inhale, soften knees, rolling ourselves up, taking our time, stacking the knees, stacking the hips, stacking the shoulders. Head is the last thing to lift. Take a couple of breaths here. In Tadasana or mountain pose or Samastitihi, they're all kind of the same but different.
Equal standing posture, feeling yourself fully rooted, balanced, supported by the legs and the earth below you. And then slowly, let's come into our first kind of alignment workshop, I guess we'll call it. We're going to work on Trikonasana. So if we can imagine this wall behind us, the pinky toe edge of the right foot is pressing against this wall. So if you have a wall, you can actually go to it and bring your right butt cheek and the right pinky toe, maybe like 3 inches far from the wall. And then the left heel and the left butt cheek are also touching the wall. So you have this wall behind you. And if you bring your shoulders back and extend your arms, so your arm, back of your arms, the pinky edge of your fingers, and your shoulders are touching this wall. The only thing that's not touching is your maybe middle, lower back, and the back of your neck. The back of your head definitely touches that wall. So this is where we want to start in Trikonasana. Both legs are contracted, so there's no bend in the knees. They're nice and strong. And if you need to take a slightly bigger stance, that's fine too. So notice here, before we do any movement, what parts of your body are being engaged here? Where are you feeling this? So for me, I start to feel it in my left hip because I know that's where some of my tension lives. Maybe you feel this in your shoulders as your arms extend out. Now we're going to start to reach with this right hand. We're going to reach towards the right, past the right toes. And we're going to take this left hip and reach towards the left. Now you still haven't come off that wall. Your shoulders are still against that wall. Reach as far as you can. Now, when you've gone as far as you can with that reach, all of your muscles are now here engaged. Release the right hand. And maybe it comes to the shin, maybe it comes to the thigh. I'm going to stay up here just to kind of give the most accessible version here. So if it comes to the thigh, just gently lift that left arm up. Everything's still touching the wall, right? Nothing has come off the wall. Maybe you can take your gaze, and now your left ear is close to the wall, or touching even, depending on, how much junk in your trunk you got, because sometimes that pushes you forward slightly. So you want to kind of find yourself here. So this is Trikonasana. This is all you need to do to come into Trikonasana. Now inhale, slowly come up. Take your time. Release your arms, point both toes in. Shake out the shoulders. Let's do a forward fold. If you're against the wall, this might push you forward. So you might want to come off the wall a little bit, or you can try with the wall, bringing the hands to the floor. So that means your butt and your legs are still going to be up against that wall. Walk your feet either out or in, and just find your forward fold. You can bring fingertips or palms to the floor, or even soften elbows. Decide where you want to be in this forward fold. And then let's start bending one knee and the other. So the butt is still against the wall if you're using the wall. So this means that you're not folding with your butt way back there, because if that were to happen, you would go through the wall. So the wall is there. You want to keep your calves and your butt against the wall. This is where you're folding here in this position. And then we start to bend and slide ourselves side to side as we connect here with the wall, or the imaginary wall if you don't have an actual wall. And then slowly coming back to center, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Inhale, lift to the fingertips, maybe bring the hands to the thighs or the waist, and slowly make your way back up. Okay, looking good. Let's do Trikonasana on the other side. So left toes point out. They're a few inches from the wall. Right heel points out, maybe the calf muscle, and both your butts or your hips are kind of against the wall. Inhale, arms extend. Find yourself tall here. Connect to that plumb line we were practicing in the beginning of our class. Nice tall from the pelvic floor to the top of the head. And then exhale, start to reach. That left hand is reaching. The right hip is extending. So we're going as far as the body will allow. Keep those shoulders back, touching your imaginary wall, and then release. Maybe to the shin, maybe to the thigh. Right arm comes up. Here's our Trikonasana. When you're ready, gaze up towards right fingers and stay there. So again, your shoulders, your hips, everything back against that wall. Lengthening through the fingertips, both legs are straight. And then inhale, slowly come back through to center. Release the feet. This time, let's interlace the hands behind the back. Lift the chest and shoulders. Exhale and fold. Let the arms release so that they're coming over the body. Find stretch in your shoulders, contract through your quads. Belly drawn in. Inhale, slowly make your way back up. Take your time. Exhale, release. Okay, now let's go take that Trikonasana a little bit deeper. If we go back to that original stance with the right toes pointed, arms out, shoulders back against the wall. As we exhale, we reach the right arm, reach the left hip. Maybe we can go a little deeper. Maybe that right arm can come closer to parallel. And then you can rest your right hand on your shin. Be mindful of this left shoulder. If it starts to come forward, you've come out of alignment. You're no longer up against your wall. So open your chest, keep yourself stable through your legs, and extend left arm up. Gazing up towards left thumb, you're opening, bringing that left shoulder back towards the wall, and your hips are still touching the wall as well. So move through the top of the head. Find that same plumb line, now a little bit more at a diagonal. And then inhale, use your legs, use your core, come back through center, right toes in, and we'll do the same thing on the left. Left toes out, arms long, hips back against the wall, shoulders back against the wall. Exhale, reach yourself through. Try not to come off that wall, so don't come forward, stay back. Keep touching that wall, reach, reach, reach. Maybe you get to parallel and that left hand can come to the shin. Right arm comes up, you're moving the right shoulder back to go against the wall. So a lot of times when we say right shoulder back, I get a lot of people bring their arm back. So that right arm goes to ceiling. The shoulder moves back to touch that imaginary wall. And the gaze goes up towards right fingertips. Strong legs, strong core here. Inhale, exhale. Good. Inhale, slowly come back up. Take your time, toes point in, hands to waist, deep inhale, breath. And exhale, fold forward. Grab a hold of your big toes, lengthen the spine, take a breath, and then exhale, fold again. Now in the second fold, you might need to soften your knees a little bit to get yourself situated. Once you feel strong here, let your top of your head reach to the floor. And if you're using that wall, your calves and your butt and the back of your thighs are touching the wall behind you. Move the shoulders away from the ears. It's going to feel a little bit awkward, like you're going to fall forward. Take a couple more breaths. And then inhale, lift the chest. Exhale there, soften the knees, hands to the thighs or waist. Slowly, gently come up. Roll the shoulders back. Good. Point the toes in, come back to center. Let's sit down into a chair pose. So bring the knees to the tops of the thighs and just take a moment to sit the hips down. Again, finding that plumb line. So we don't want to arch back and we don't want to round forward, but finding that nice, long, straight line. Maybe bringing hands to the heart as we lift the chest, hollowing out the belly, long line from the top of your head to the tailbone, reaching one point away from the other. Maybe gazing forward if that feels right for you, or gazing down. And then exhale, hands to the floor, hips towards the sky. Find your Uttanasana once more. Head relaxes, roll the weight forward. Bending into the knees, plant the hands on the floor and step the feet back to come back to your tabletop. Finding our tabletop position here, swaying side to side, maybe a little cat and cow, settling into the hands and knees. Good. Maybe 3 of each. If you feel like doing another one, feel free.
When you're ready, come back to a flat back, open the knees wide, big toes touch, take your balasana. And then just take a moment to feel the length on both sides of the body as the chest moves down. Relax the forehead to the floor. You want to try to engage a little bit more into the shoulders, then you can keep the elbows off the mat. But if you want to soften a little bit more and relax, then you can gently let the elbows bend down towards the mat. So your choice here. Couple of breaths. And slowly inhale, lift the head, shine the heart forward. Exhale, walk the hands in. We're going to do some lion's breath here. So planting the hands into the floor. You can do this with the toes relaxed, or you can do this with the toes tucked under. It's a little bit of a stretch of the soles of the feet with the toes tucked under. I'm feeling toes relaxed today, so I'm going to stay down here. All right, so hands are in front. Lift the chest, shoulders back. We're going to exhale and curl the spine. It's a different version of movement. Normally, we kind of round. Oh, no, it is the same. Exhale, curl the spine. Sorry, don't know where I was going with that. So exhale, curl the back under, tuck the chin in. Inhale, come back to center. All right, now we're going to go into the reverse. So now with the inhale, we're going to curl the spine, which is the reverse of what we normally do. And then with the exhale, we're going to let out the sound, the sticking the tongue out and looking up to the top of the head, back of the head. So that's the reverse of what we normally do. So normally we curl in as we exhale and we open up as we inhale. We're doing the opposite. We're curling in with the inhale and we're opening up with the forceful exhale. Let's do 3 more. Two more at your own pace. Last one. And coming back to center, walking those knees in towards each other. So now you're sitting in a hero's pose. Take the elbows to the floor. If the elbows don't come to the floor easily, place blocks underneath your forearms. And then just take a moment here, similar to a sphinx pose. So the arms are in that sphinx pose position and we're shining that heart forward. Again, trying to find that plumb line in the back. Top of the head reaching forward. Steady here. Moving the shoulder blades back and down. And then exhale, continue to walk the hands forward as you find yourself back in a balasana, but this time with the knees together. Soften the shoulders. If the forehead makes it to the floor, great. You can also place your hands so that you can keep your head supported. Or use a yoga block. Stay here for a few more breaths. And slowly inhale, rolling ourselves up to our tabletop position once more. Let's go for a little bit of side planks here, building some strength. Let's take the left leg out and pivot the left heel down towards the mat. So when you look down at your legs, your knee, right ankle, and left ankle are all in one line. So is your right hand, maybe slightly back to the right to keep yourself a little bit more balanced. Your right shoulder is not exactly over your wrist, but slightly back so that you can feel yourself really supported by that right arm. And then let's take the left arm to the shoulder. If we imagine that imaginary wall once more, our 2 shoulders and our right hip or right glute is touching the wall.
maybe even your left heel, that imaginary wall. And then either take that left hand, keep it at the shoulder, or let it drop behind you. Just let it drop behind you so that it's just kind of hanging back there. Take a gaze up towards the sky. Observe here that plumb line again in the body. Now we're going to move into that left arm. Inhale, left arm up to the sky. Exhale, left arm up and over. So moving into the shoulder. Inhale, left arm up to the sky. Exhale, up and over. So you don't want to be able to see your left arm. It shouldn't be in front of you. Even if it doesn't go right up and over, keep it in the same alignment. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, up and over. One more. Inhale, up. Exhale, all the way down. Back to center. Left knee down. Square everything off. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So right leg extends back. Maybe you line up your right heel with the left ankle and left knee. Left hand can go slightly out to the left, but not too much. Kind of keep it in that same line as the left knee, maybe a little bit over. And then as you come up, notice you don't want to be stacking that shoulder and the wrist directly. Just give yourself a little bit of room here. Plant your right heel down. And then right hand on the shoulder, start to open back. Find that alignment. Again, if you had an imaginary wall, your hip and your left shoulder and your right shoulder would be touching. Now from here, let's release that right arm back and just let it hang here. Maybe gaze up and start to notice which parts of your body are feeling this posture right now. Where are you connecting with? And then as you're ready, we're going to move into that right arm. So inhale, right arm up to the sky. Extend, so both shoulders are touching that imaginary wall. Exhale, right arm up and over. Inhale, extend to the sky. Exhale, up and over. Finding that plumb line. Inhale, up to the sky. Strong right leg. Exhale, up and over. Again, find that reach and length here. So you don't want the arm in front. You want to keep everything in that same line, even if the hand doesn't go very far down. Inhale up, last one. Exhale, up and over. Inhale, extend to the sky. And then exhale, windmill all the way down. Right knee down. Find your tabletop. Shake it out. So there's a lot of work that we've been doing today with the back muscles and the spine. Move forward and back. Maybe cat and cow if that feels good. And we're going to make our way back to seated, crossing the feet. Maybe you can slide your feet through, practicing our jump through. And then we're going to go back to that one we did originally with the right leg extended and the left toe or left heel pulled in. Similar to Janu Shirshasana, except we're not rotating through the right leg. We're staying centered over the left foot. Then we're going to find that same length in the spine, maybe a little easier to connect to now. Right hand on the shin. Exhale, slide down. Notice, it's a little easier to get to the foot. Bring that left shoulder back. Keep moving that left shoulder back. Even if you don't grab the foot, maybe you're still at the ankle, but you want to keep moving that left shoulder back, touching that imaginary wall behind you. When you're there, let that left hand use it like a little bit of leverage to open and rotate a little bit more and look over left shoulder. So your left ear would be coming near that imaginary wall. Stay a couple of breaths. Observing here how the muscle pulls and pushes. All the muscles kind of work in this beautiful, harmonious dance with each other to keep you in the asana, to keep you in the posture. As you exhale, you find the pause. And as you inhale, you reconnect with that pause at the top. Slowly, gently bring the gaze back to center. Take the gaze down towards the right arm, and then gently let yourself come back up. All right, we're going to go for the twist. Inhale, lift the arms. Find extension through torso. Exhale, rotate now over that bent knee and plant your fingertips or your palms on the floor. You might need a moment to move the right shoulder forward and allow the hip to give you a slight rotation forward. But this right leg is still strong and contracted. Don't let those toes fold in. Keep it nice and contracted. So that is your stabilizing leg. As we exhale, maybe tilt a little bit in. Maybe bring the elbows down. If the elbows don't come down easily, our handy dandy yoga blocks will give us the ability to come down without forcing the body. So you can be there or you can be on the floor, but this right leg is still nice and contracted. And we're just going to stay here for a few breaths, finding the rotation in the torso, relaxing into the hands, extending the body. And again, reconnecting to that pause between the breaths. One more. And inhale, pressing the hands into the block or into the floor to come back up, finding that length, maybe letting the fingertips come back to the floor, turning the rotation, maybe gazing back over left shoulder to complete the twist. And then exhale, slowly come back through to center. And we're gonna extend the left leg, both legs out now. And we'll just do a gentle forward fold here, similar to what we did when we were standing. The toes are pointing straight up to the ceiling, so the feet are deeply flexed. This is important. The more you can contract through your quadriceps, the more you'll feel you'll be able to hinge from your hips. So if I were to turn sideways, you want to make sure that you are seated on your sits bones. So be very mindful that this doesn't begin from back here, from a tucking under or a tilting back of the pelvis. The pelvis needs to be upright. So if that's not accessible for you, place a towel or a folded up blanket under your hips to elevate your body and make your pelvis straight. And then from there, we'll lean forward. So again, then you want to grab your block so that you can bring your elbows to it and elevate your spine. So this is a perfectly great place to be in this nice elevated position. Again, not trying to curl around, lengthening. So the entire practice today has been working on extending the spine. This is so good for our posture and in general, very, very good for our breathing because it's easier to breathe when we have expansiveness in the front body. It's a lot harder to breathe when we are collapsing. So keep that nice long spine. If you find that maybe you can go a little deeper, maybe those elbows can come to the floor. Not a necessity, just an invitation. See how it goes. Steady, easy breath. And sometimes you find that even the elbows to the block is really tough. So just remember, your blocks have levels. So you can stay with your elbows on the block at some of those levels. Any which one feels good. Good. One more breath. Exhale. Notice the pause. And gently come back up. Good. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So the left leg extends out, right leg comes in towards the groin. We're in our Janu Shirshasana setup. Once you're there, take a moment, find that plumb line, find that lengthened spine, seated nice and tall, left hand on the left leg, slide yourself down, right hand on your thigh. Maybe you can easily grab the foot. I only recommend grabbing the foot if it's an easy movement there. If you're reaching to struggle and that brings you out of alignment, you're better off just holding on to the shin or to the ankle. Now, once you have whatever part of your leg you're going to find, then you're going to use that right shoulder press back as you press gently right hand into the thigh. So this creates that gentle rotation. Both shoulders are touching that wall. And then as you start to rotate more, the left shoulder starts to move forward but the right shoulder goes further back towards the wall, and you can take your gaze so your right ear is near the wall. It's just a good idea to move into these asanas with the sense of knowing where our spine is supposed to be. Keep moving that right shoulder back, and that gentle pressure on the right thigh will just give you just enough challenge here to really feel your way through. Let's hold a couple more breaths. Remembering to observe the pause. Exhaling. And gently taking the gaze now towards that left leg, but keeping the right shoulder back. Inhaling, release, lifting back up to center. Arms up and extend the body. Twist through the torso. So we start with a natural twist, natural range of motion, and then we let the hands come down. So you might need to start to roll that left hip forward as you bring the hands to the floor. Maybe make little adjustments if your heel is not on the mat, and then start to open your body towards the right. You're welcome to stay here or start to bend into your elbows, maybe bringing your forearms to a block to find a little bit more support. If you're not sure if you need the block or not, try it with the block first. See if that feels accessible, if everything feels okay, if you're not forcing. And if everything feels fine, you think, well, I feel okay, let me try. One elbow, other elbow, and then you're like, okay, I can do it, but it certainly isn't comfortable. And it feels like I'm coming out of alignment. I don't feel my heart shining forward, feel myself rounding, kind of, succumbing to the posture. And in that case, you're better off coming back onto the block and then letting your heart shine forward and allowing your shoulders to even out so you can be more in the better alignment with your posture. Keep that left leg engaged and that left foot flexed. Steady breathing here. Good. One more. And then gently placing the hands on the floor, coming back up. We'll see if you want to complete your twist by gazing back over that right shoulder. And then exhale, slowly release, coming back to center. You can move the block away. And let's come all the way down to our backs. So roll yourself down, bring the knees into the chest. Give yourself a little sway. And we're going to practice that breath one more time. We're going to bring it full circle with the breath. So let's go ahead and plant the feet on the floor, however far from your hips is comfortable for you. And then we're going to let the knees fold in towards each other. So then the legs feel supported and the hips feel relaxed. You can take your hands to your hips, or you can release your arms by your sides. Either way is fine. I kind of just feel good feeling my hands on the body right here. And then again, find that same plumb line we've been working with all day. That length from the pelvic floor through the Sushumna Nadi or channel, all the way up through the top of your head. Now you're using the level field of the earth to connect to that. That's how you know you're nice and upright. You don't need to use your muscles. You don't need to pretend there's a wall behind you. You have the support here of the earth below you. Take a nice inhale. Observe the pause. Slow exhale. Notice again that nice gentle gap there at the end of the exhale. Again, inhale. You want to feel the energy drawing up that center channel. Then you observe the pause at the top. And we exhale. Observing the pause at the bottom. One more time, just like that. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. With the next release of breath, let's go ahead and let the legs open out. Extend the legs out, find your Shavasana. If there's any other movements here that your body feels like it needs, please incorporate it into your practice. When you're ready, take your rest. Let the shoulders soften. Palms are facing up, fingers gently curled into the hands. No tension anywhere in the body. Relax. 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 Slowly and gently with the next exhale breath. Let's begin by bringing awareness back to this body, this time and this place. Scan through the body and see if there's any places that may still be holding tightness that you can release and relax before we start to move. As you're ready, wiggle the fingers and toes, hands, the feet, the wrists, and the ankles. The forearms, the elbows bend, the knees bend. Maybe come to a constructive resting pose with one hand at the belly, one hand at the heart. Continuing to take those mindful breaths, observing the pauses. And as you're ready, roll over onto your side. Take a moment to just let your head rest either on your arm or on the floor. And you can use your other arm to just support your weight here. And as you're ready, extending the top leg, pressing into that front arm and sliding yourself up to seated. Take your time. As we make our way to seated, just take a couple more moments to re-ground yourself onto the earth and just observe the simple practice of just observing the breath. The simple practice of just being present with whatever sensations of the body. And this is our yoga. This is our practice. As we exhale, we'll draw the palms together at the center of the heart, symbolizing the union of body, mind, and spirit. Together we'll chant one sound Om to seal our practice. Inhale for Om. Namaste.